Hello world, Shelly here, and it is time for your Friday foundation fix, where you can get your fix of foundation reviews in between foundation fests. And today I've got the much anticipated, highly requested new release from Flower Beauty, Drew Barrymore's brand. This is the Light Illusion Foundation. I've got this in the second lightest shade L2, which I think is going to be a little bit too light for me, but we will try it out anyway. I am on Ulta's website because you can now get Flower Beauty at Ulta online, and this foundation retails for $13.99 for 1 fluid ounce of product. That is pretty standard. Very attractive packaging. This is going to look beautiful sitting on your vanity. You get 1 fluid ounce. Did I say that? I think I said that. It only has a few reviews because it's only been recently released on Ulta's website. So for 11 reviews, it's getting a 4.3 out of 5-star rating. They say that this is a perfecting veil of buildable coverage. Now get ready. There are some superlatives in this particular product description, so hold on to your drama hats. Light Illusion is a breakthrough foundation that achieves the impossible. If it's impossible, how did they achieve it? Okay. Provides you with the coverage you desire to smooth and perfect while imparting your skin with the most flattering soft luminosity imaginable. I'm sure I could imagine softer, just saying. All with a weightless nude skin feel. Imperfections and uneven skin tone are diminished. Only a flawless, smooth, and incredibly natural complexion is revealed. That is so fluffy, I could like sleep on it. Like, poof, fluff. That's a lot of fluff. That doesn't mean a whole lot to me because all I got out of that is buildable coverage. To how high, they don't say. It does say that it's going to even skin tone, so I'm expecting the evenness of any redness. It doesn't really say anything about fine lines. It's implying that there's some smoothing, so maybe it applies to texture. But these are very non-specific claims. It's all fluffy talk. It's happy talk. So generally, I'm not a fan of happy talk. I want actual, give me some real hard claims. Back it with evidence if you got it. Anyway, this comes in 12 shades, so your typical kind of drugstore range, and that's what we have to go on. So let's take a look at the Flower Beauty Light Illusion and compare it to some swatches of other products in my collection in this price range. Alrighty, let's swatch. First up is today's foundation, the Flower Beauty Light Illusion Foundation in shade L2 Ivory. Next is the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Glow in shade 201 Classic Ivory. Third up is the Milani Conceal and Perfect in shade 00 Light Natural. Fourth is the LA Girl Pro Coverage in shade Porcelain. And fifth up, I've got the Revlon Color Stay for normal to dry skin, and that is in shade 200 Nude. The first two swatches are both cool undertone. I would say that the Flower Beauty is neutral to cool. Then the third and fourth swatch are both slightly warm undertone, leaning yellow to apricot. And then the Color Stay, the last swatch, is also a cool undertone. So that's how they sort of compare to each other. I have already cleansed, moisturized, and sunscreened my face. I have primed with the Strivectin Anti-Wrinkle Line Blur Factor Primer. This is just my recent go-to, and we're starting off with a 43-year-old face. I've got some sun damage that I like to cover up. I do have fine lines around my mouth, on my forehead. I have deeper lines under my chin. I have large pores, and I've got a little breakout going on right now, so my pores tend to come out on my chin, right around here, and right in the center of my forehead. So that's the list of sort of complications and things that I am dealing with that I choose to use foundation to attempt to mask, cover up, minimize, etc. We got a cat fight going on in the background. I don't know if you can hear that, but there was some hissing going on. Okay, I just pulled the cap off this for the first time. The seal was broken. I ordered this online at Ulta. Let's just take a look at the pump and see if the product's already been pumped. Doesn't look like it. The pump looks clean. This also has SPF 18. Don't replace your typical skincare with makeup SPF. This is just like a nice backup to have. I already got SPF 50 on my face. Notice we have a pump. Like I said, this packaging is really, really pretty. I really like it. I prefer to have a pump on my foundations because you get a more hygienic result. You're not dipping things into it. You're not getting germs and dirt and things into the bottle. You are preventing oxygen from reaching the product, so you're going to have less likelihood of color shift and oxidation and early spoilage, that kind of thing. So, oh, and this also has the expiration date on the bottom, so this expires January of 2020. I like when the expiration dates are clear, because when you have one of those expirations that says like 6 months, if you don't write down when you bought it, you have no idea, or when you opened it, you have no idea how long it's been open. So kudos Flower Beauty. I am liking the packaging a lot so far. Let's do a consistency check here. Pretty thick formula, a little bit of movement there, but pretty thick. I'm gonna go down one side of my face with a sponge. This is the EcoTools Total Perfecting Blender. Just washed it, I promise. And on the other side, I've got a brush. This is a brand new e.l.f. Ultimate Blending Brush. We'll see if there's a difference in coverage or a difference in how the product applies. I'd say we're getting pretty light coverage with the sponge. It is clinging just a bit in between my eyebrows. It's kind of accentuating some texture there and clinging a bit strangely at that point. I don't really see smoothing of texture going on at all. I think the color match is better than I thought it was. I think this is oxidizing just a little bit since I have pumped it out, which is good because it was too light for me. But if you are pale and you are not self-tanning, this may be too light overall for you. Let's try the brush side. Right off the bat, I like the brush a lot better. I am getting a slightly more smooth application with the brush. Let's see if we can build up a little bit. I pretty much used up all that product. They claim that this is buildable. Let's do one more pump and see if we can kind of even things and smooth things out. I'm gonna go not quite a whole pump, maybe half a pump. Does it seem like it's oxidizing on the fly? I feel like my face is getting darker. I really want to smooth out the center here. Ooh, no, that's looking worse. Oh. Product doesn't want to stick there. I would say the brush is a smoother application than the sponge. However, the only areas of my face that look like they're smooth are the areas that have the very least texture, like the back of my cheeks toward my ears. As you get onto the apples of my cheeks where my texture starts to show, and toward the center of my face where my pores become more obvious, my pores just look very accentuated. I can see every dot of my pores, but also all of the texture that's around my pores. It's not sitting very nicely around my nostrils, which admittedly I have dry skin around that area. In between my eyebrows, it is clinging just to all of the texture that's there. I have kind of like minor orange peel texture in between my eyebrows, and it's really just a combination of a little bit of sun damage texture and some enlarged pores, and it just looks horrible in between my eyebrows. My forehead looks okay, but all of my fine lines are visible. None of them are being smoothed. Usually after I put foundation on, I can just see the 3 main lines that I've got on my forehead, but I can actually see all of the horizontal stripes of wrinkles going on across my forehead, and that usually gets smoothed out nicely by most foundations. So this is not smoothing on me, and this is definitely accentuating texture and pores at this point. When you make all these superlative non-specific claims, I am gonna look at them, and I'm looking, and I think you're lying to me, Flower Beauty. But let's check the time. It is 12:37. Let's call the check-in time 12:40. That'll be the easiest for me to remember. I'm gonna go put the rest of my face on, and I'll be right back. Alrighty, here we go. I had a little bit of trouble blending concealer into this foundation. I was using the Makeup Revolution concealer that everybody's talking about as a dupe for Shape Tape. I don't think it's a dupe for Shape Tape in the coverage, but I do like it so far. I feel like I kind of have that seam of sort of cakiness where the concealer goes across the foundation, but otherwise everything blended out on top of this foundation just fine. I did end up setting it. So they claim a luminous finish. I think you definitely get a luminous finish. I'm not into looking super dewy, sweaty, so I almost always set my foundations. It's very, very rare that I don't. I ended up setting this one with the Maybelline Fit Me. This is their loose finishing powder. I've got this in the shade 15 Light, and I am so digging this stuff. I'm loving it. This did a really nice job at giving me a little bit more smoothing because I wasn't getting a whole lot of smoothing from the foundation. I also took concealer up the center of my forehead and in between my eyebrows, and that did help kind of even out the cakiness, but I think you can even tell at a distance that there's just some texture there that is being accentuated by the foundation. But this powder is super great. I am loving it. Other than that, on my face, I'm using the Balm Desert as my bronzer. My blush is Wet n Wild Pearlescent Pink. I have a couple more first impressions for you while we're at it. I'm wearing Soft Clam. I'm sorry, once I saw Soft Clam, I can't unsee Soft Clam. It's just Soft Clam. It's supposed to be Soft Glam. I can't unsee it. It's Soft Clam for the rest of my life. I feel like the formula is very similar to Modern Renaissance, if not a little bit more powdery and a little bit tougher to blend, sort of toward it's nowhere near as hard to blend as Subculture, but I really kind of feel like it's a little bit in between there. I had this my favorite shade so far, this Mulberry shade, which is what I've got in my inner and outer eye. Beautiful color, absolutely, just the right red brown under. It's just beautiful, but it really wanted to stay put where I put it, and that's the kind of experience I had with Subculture. So it's not as powdery as Subculture and not quite as pigmented, but but I do like it. I like it for my first impression. This is where we ended up. I also tried the Essence Lash Princess False Lash Effect Mascara for the first time, and I don't know if I'm sure what all the hype is about. It's fine, but I don't know. Does it look amazing to you? I don't know. I'm not jumping over the moon. And for the first time, I'm trying out the Revlon Color Charge. This is one of their new lines. This is their like lustrous lip gloss, they call it. I've got it in the shade 101 Dream in the Nude. My guess, I'm so glad shine is coming back in trend, but my guess is this is running along the lines of the Milani More Shine colored lipstick gloss things. I don't like this one as much. I much prefer the Amore Shines. They have more pigment. The pigment lays more evenly. I find that the color here is sinking into the cracks on my lips. I do have dry lips, so it's comfortable, but not as good as my Amore Shines. I'm not going to run out and buy a bunch more of these. So that is where we are starting out. We will remember what was the check-in time. It was 12:40. Check-in time's 12:40. I'll be back with a daylight check-in in a bit, and I'll come back at the end of the night with my final thoughts. Hey guys, daylight check-in here. I would say we are at about the 4-hour mark, and so far I think everything looks okay. The one thing I'm noticing is that even at a distance, I feel like the lines of my face are quite accentuated. Like my smile lines are looking very accentuated. My forehead lines are looking quite obvious, even at a distance. So that's not super great. I don't think we're having any major wear off. My chin is starting to look a little bit like it is wearing off just a little bit, but not bad. So far, looks okay. But I don't like how it is aging me. So that is where we're at the 4-hour mark. It's almost 5 o'clock right now, and I'll be back tonight with my final thoughts. Alrighty, it is 9:53 p.m. That means we are just past the 9-hour mark with the Flower Beauty foundation, and let's take a look at how it has held up. It's definitely breaking apart around my chin, around my mouth, around my nose. You might notice this has nothing to do with the foundation, but this mascara has been transferring down my face and flaking off all day. As we go up, I do think my blush, bronzer, highlight is all, for the most part, very well still intact. I don't think the foundation is fading. I just think that it is breaking down and breaking up at this point. As we get between my eyebrows, it looks very cakey and scaly. My forehead looks okay. I think that the original settling into lines that I was experiencing has, for the most part, stopped. I tapped it out several times while I was putting on the rest of my face, and it pretty much did not settle into much at that point. In terms of how it feels, it does feel a little bit dry at this point. Not terribly bad, but just a little bit dry at the 9-hour mark. Here's my net feeling about this foundation. I think if you've only got redness to cover up, it's probably going to work nicely. I feel like you almost have to have really good skin already in order for this to do all of those fluffy inflated claims of making your skin look smooth and perfect. If you've got unsmooth skin, it's not going to make it look smooth. If you've got uneven skin, it's not going to make it look necessarily even. I just feel like it's only going to look better if you didn't have much to fix in the first place. So if I had to give a grade to the Flower Beauty Light Illusion, specifically for maturing skin and dry skin, I'm going to go D+. It doesn't look terrible, but most of the improvement, I think, was because of the additional products that I used with it. I think the setting powder that I used did a huge help for making the texture look more smooth. The additional, the additional concealer I applied in the center of my face definitely helped to even out the patchiness of that area. I just don't think on its own this is a great foundation for people with maturing or dry skin. It's only slightly drying, so if your skin's not too dry, it might be okay. But again, we're doing this at a time when my skin is actually behaving really well. I have not had dry skin for probably a month now, and it has been excellent. So the fact that I do feel dry, I think says this is a slightly drying formula. So there you have it. I'm going to go D+, slightly below average if you are dealing with issues such as maturing skin and dry skin. So that's my thoughts. That's my thoughts. That's not proper grammar. There are my thoughts. Plural thoughts. Oh boy. It's time for bed. There you have it. Thanks a lot for taking some time out of your day to geek out over makeup with me. If you enjoy foundation reviews, I would love a thumbs up down below. Please leave me suggestions in the comments if you would like to see specific foundations reviewed on my channel. You can always go on my website, geekoutofwater.com, and click the Foundation Fest link. That'll take you to a ranked, sortable, searchable spreadsheet of all my foundation reviews. This one will be up there shortly. Give me a week or so to get all of the new data uploaded, and that, I think, is all I have to say. Thanks again, and I hope you guys all have an awesome day or night wherever you are in the world. Ziva says so too. Take care of each other. Bye-bye.